What is going on, everyone? We are live and welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. My name is Connor, and it's time for a Sunday live stream with the crypto market pumping and with retail coming back. It does so appear. Let's get into this live stream and start off like we always do with our crypto market overview. All right, guys, so Bitcoin currently trading above 118K. We have ETH just about to crack 3,000 again, XRP approaching $3. Overall, as you can see, everything is green. Looking at the Crypto Bubble's top 100, everything is green, okay? So clearly, the bulls are back in charge and the bulls are back in town. Now, here's Ethereum up on the screen. I think it's safe to say that we ain't coming back down to the $2,000 level or something like that. All right. We're all gas, no brakes. And we're in an aggressive uptrend once again that somewhat rivals what occurred for Ethereum, at least over here back in February of this year. Right. This is what an aggressive uptrend looks like on the daily time frame. Right. If you look at this from January 2024 to March 2024, which was last year, we had a very aggressive uptrend on ETH as well as all altcoins basically. There's a very good chance we are now in a very similar time period where we're going to have aggressive up-only price action, okay? So basically, everyone wants a dip, right? Everyone wants to dip into the key levels, things like that. But when things are very hot, we can simply just pump, consolidate, and then pump more, okay? So on ETH, we pumped, now we've been consolidating. Basically, all altcoins are in the same boat right now. The idea now, in my opinion, is to simply look for shallow pullbacks, if anything, just to trade to the next target higher, okay? In an aggressive uptrend, you just go with the trend, which is up. So on ETH, there are some levels, okay? There are some key levels that are left behind that I have marked out. On the 1 day time frame, right, we have this previous swing high up here, 28.77. We haven't come back and retested the breakout of this. There's some odd time frame levels, for example, on the 144, right? We have this order block, previous supply level, which was left behind. As you can see, price just ripped right through it. This comes into play like 28.66 to 28.50. This would be probably the best thing to long if you're going to wait for a pullback. Like 28.50 on ETH. It's going to be shallow. It's just going to be a retest of the previous level. And more likely than not, even if the market even gives this, right? Because everyone is looking at this consolidation. They're like, I want down here. You know, I want over here, 27.50. It's a 2 day level. But in my opinion, there's a good chance we don't even see that deep of a pullback to like 2,700. And we just all gas, no brakes. Right up to the next key resistance level, which is near the yearly open at around $3,300, okay? So anyways, last Sunday, I talked about this ETH trade, right? Basically saying it should never come back below like 24.30 if it's going to pump. It never came below, it just pumped, okay? So here we are now. The idea, again, is just to look for the shallow pullbacks or try and take the bottom of the ranges because every altcoin had a lower time frame range, and all that's happened since the pump is we've been ranging. Coins swept their lows, and now we're kind of coming back up towards our range highs. So anyways, that's the idea. The optimal level for Ethereum to long would be around 28.50 if given, but it might just take off without you, okay? If you're going to wait for this. And that goes for everything. Now, if we go look at USDT dominance, we'll look at Bitcoin immediately after this. Looking at USDT dominance here in the lower time frames, it's just another range that's happened. Well, let's just go over this on the daily. So on the daily, right? We had a massive expansion straight to the swing lows from back in May when we had the Bitcoin Pizza Day, the Bitcoin conference. It was a local top, right? We had all the fake outs in June. It was all this. We're now right back to where we were within a few days to the peaks in May. So the idea is that this is going to continue to break down further and towards our macro targets, which again, we're looking at around 3.8 as a major key level and 3.3, 3.4 as macro targets for USDT dominance. It does appear that this is the real move that is going to result in USDT dominance coming down here. Right? That's the higher time frame. The higher time frame, the path is simple. Right? A move down into here. There's going to be some things along the way, of course. It's not going to be a straight line down. It might be, okay? This was a straight line down here. But anyways, let's zoom into the lower time frames on this. And looking at this range, right? This is great for scalping. Right? As a scalper, you would have looked at this and said, okay, when it comes above the range high, I'm just going to take longs, and that's that. Right? Here's your range high, 4.42%. Here's your range low down here at around 4.36%. We're now back at the range lows. So we're essentially looking to see if this is going to actually break the range and head lower. The next key level for USDT dominance is going to be at around 4.13%. Very clear 2-day demand zone, right? There's a rally, base rally, 2-day demand zone at 4.13. So if we do end up breaking this range here and we just break down, we're coming to this target at 4.13. At this point in time, right, when we make it down here, that's going to be a place to definitely look for profit taking, because there's a chance we see a strong reaction from there before continuing lower to the macro targets. Now, if we see this would be optimal to line up with longs, but again, we might not even see it because everyone wants like the optimal level to long the pullback. But USDT dominance at around 4.55%, that's this previous demand level that we've had for a while. As you can see, when price was coming down, it completely disregarded this. All right. This now becomes a hidden order block. So if we were to see USDT dominance come into this level at 4.56, that would be an optimal level to take your long entries for the move lower. Okay. Also on the 9-day, there's a big fat level here, right? Another hidden order block on the 9-day time frame. And that one is quite large, as you can see, at 4.60 to 4.69, but that's quite high up, and that would result in Bitcoin retracing heavily at this moment in time, which could happen, but I don't necessarily believe that is going to happen, being that we're in such an aggressive uptrend. It looks like all gas, no brakes higher. So anyways, just to wrap this up on USDT dominance, optimally, we get a move to this 1-day hidden order block for long entries, but we might not even see that high, okay? If we end up breaking this range lower, you should look to ride some momentum long trades, basically. And I'll show you what those look like right now as we get further into this live stream. But if this is just going to break down and you see it breaking down in the lower time frames, 1 hour, 15 minute, etc., you have to look for momentum entries on altcoins because they're targets. I just showed you ETH, right? 3,300. Altcoins are looking at another 10% plus move to their own respective kind of macro target, or not macro targets, but next target levels higher. Just one example would be something like Tau. Right, here's Tau on the lower time frame on the 1 hour. And real quick, one thing. It's worth mentioning that this for Tau could be the start of what happened, say, back in September of 2024. As you can see, I was doing some measurements here. But anyways, what happened in September of 2024, September into October, was this thing just went on an aggressive uptrend. Like on the daily time frame. Let me get rid of this. but it went on an aggressive uptrend on the daily time frame, and it gave zero opportunities for any retracement. All right, let's go to the lower time frame from that move back in September to just illustrate this further and what it looked like. All right, here it is. The Tau breakout from September 2024. Once price broke this level, which was $335, it broke this and it started the move. If you look at what occurred during this move, I mean, literally just ranges, right? A consolidation range, swept the high, swept the low, pump. Okay, bull flag, pump. Now, if you notice, you can take time measurements. So if we take it from the peak to the low, this one was around 10 hours. Okay, these consolidations don't really last too long. This one from the peak to the low was around 23 hours. This one from the peak to the low, around 8 hours, okay? But the entire consolidation, 23 hours or so, which is the same as this one. So anyways, it consolidates for like a day, and then it just blasts off higher. And again, this is what it looks like back on the daily time frame. It doesn't give you the opportunity to buy a dip, basically, is the point I'm trying to make here. So if we're going to see a repeat of this, which there's a very good chance we are seeing, it's just the start of it right now, right? There's been a very good move off of the lows. This was what, 30%, 25%. Okay, 25% pump. We now have the first consolidation, which is coming in right at a higher time frame, daily time frame trend line resistance. It's been one full day of consolidation. So in my opinion, we're going to find out like today, basically, if we have a repeat of that September price action on Tau. Because it's already been like a 23-hour consolidation, as you can see. From the high to the low, this one was 19 hours. So we should be open to the possibility of this thing simply just blasting off. And this consolidation was it. Which is why I was just saying on USDT dominance, if you see it break that range lower, you have to look for momentum entries, right? You kind of just have to jump into the trend if you want to trade this. So on Tau, because we know the coin, we know that 350 is the main SR flip. So the best thing to do would be able to long 350. But if we were to take a momentum entry, we would simply use that 350 level as our invalidation, okay? Right? If we were to take a momentum entry and not wait for 350, let's say we're going to long up here, there's two ways you can play it. Okay, you can play it with the wider stop, saying that basically the ETH setup that I shared last Sunday, where it shouldn't come back below the support resistance flip. It's a wide stop, right? You're looking at like 10% or so. That's the wide stop scenario. And in my opinion, you can look to long this up to $500, which is another around 25% move. So even if you risk 10%, you're actually still, it's still a 2.5 to 1 trade risk reward. That's the loose stop method. The safer way, which is going to require a more hands-on approach, would be to just use this trend line, this one. I'll put it back on the screen. Right, the safer approach would simply just be use this trend line. And you can say that if price comes and it starts to break the trend line, you exit the trade. Right? You can risk a few $100 to make thousands, right? Something like this. Depending on your position size. But a coin like Tau, right? Looking for a 25% move. I mean, I would play it very tight. I would play it like here. This is not even 1%. Or less than 2%. So this is the more aggressive approach, just to look to long the breakout, okay? Because like I said, if we're going to have the repeat of the September price action over here, where it just goes up only without any room for any pullbacks, just pump, consolidate, pump again, it ain't going to give you 350 again. It's just going to take off from here, and it's going to be at $500 in the blink of an eye. which is why you kind of have to be a little aggressive during these trending market times. So anyways, that's what's happening on Tau here, right? We had the money come back into the market. Huge move, aggressive move, just like every other altcoin. They all move like 20, 30%. We have the consolidation now. And I'm looking for this to likely just break higher. Anyways, we haven't even looked at Bitcoin yet, and I haven't even looked at the live chat yet. What is going on, guys? Smash up the like button, everyone. Great to all have you here. All right. Now, Bitcoin. So here on the daily time frame, first thing to note is we hit the first Fibonacci extension level, the negative 0.27, right? All we did to get this was we took the previous all-time high from the 20th of January to the lows in April. And all we do is put on the negative 0.27 and the negative 618 on Bitcoin. And we get this 118 as the negative 0.27 Fib extension and 130K as the negative 618. We've hit the negative 0.27. All right. And price just so happened to stall exactly after hitting this Fib extension. Now, I'm treating this Bitcoin breakout as a legitimate breakout. All right. To see this come back down to like 110 means we're going back to like the gulag, and like altcoins are going to go back to the bottom where they were. Like it can happen, but it's such a small probability that I think the move is just to be an aggressive bull at this point in time, especially after this move. Okay. So with that being said, if we drop the time frames, Bitcoin did the same thing as Tau did in September 2024, where it just pumps, it consolidates, it pumps, it consolidates. So what we have is we have a lower time frame range. We have our range low over here at $116,600. Our range high as the new all-time high at $118,900. And we're just trading in this range, okay? So we have to look at how this is going to go when the range breaks. Okay, the range has not broken yet. If we end up breaking the range and we start closing above it, we have to expect we're coming towards 125 to 130K. If we swing failure pattern, which means we'll come up above the range, but we'll leave a wick and we'll close back in the range, that's a sign that we may see these previous consolidation levels, which come into play at 115K and 113K. These are shallow pullback scenarios. It's not much. And in an aggressive uptrend, that's what happens. You don't get much of a pullback, okay? So let's see how it goes here with Bitcoin's range. It's a Sunday. If you guys have noticed, a lot of moves do start on Sundays. So we may see it today. We may get the action we're looking for today. It's possible. Or I should mention, we have crypto week. We have crypto week starting tomorrow, guys. The White House is putting on the crypto week. July 14th through 18th, starting Monday tomorrow. So we can read, next week, the House will deliver on POTUS's call to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. So we got the Clarity Act, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which is just a troll by the White House if you actually know what's going on, and also the Genius Act. All right, so we got crypto week this week. It's a good excuse for them to go ahead and just pump this thing higher. But with that being said, if we do get some sort of scenario early in the week, I'm talking like Monday, Tuesday, the absolute latest of a dip, you buy the dip. Simple. Okay. Levels are marked out. Again, 115, 113, another level at 111. These are all just the lower time frame consolidations. Right? All just the lower time frame consolidations. I'm expecting one of these to act as the bottom before a new all-time high, basically. And what you can do is just line it up with USDT dominance. If it does come up to this key level, okay, that can be used as confluence for an entry. Or if it comes back up here, just to this 1 hour supply zone in here, and you see Bitcoin at a level, it could for sure be worth just taking a long with a tight stop. That's the thing. Your risk is so important, right? You can literally just take these level by level, risking less than a percent. All right, let's say it doesn't work and it comes to the lower level, you can try again. All right, we're talking very low risk for very good reward. Right, very good. This is a 23-to-1 RR trade, or this one would be a 26-to-1 RR trade, right? So that's what I'm looking for on Bitcoin. I don't think we get much of a dip. I'm expecting an aggressive uptrend to the 618 Fibonacci extension, which again is at 130K. With crypto week, it'd be interesting if they go ahead and give a little bit of a scare at the start, drop it below the range into one of these levels, only to then reverse to the highs. Okay. But yeah, I mean, no sense in trying to short it because it could just blast off from this consolidation. Longs only, basically. It's a long only program currently. It's a buy program. On other news, we can look at some of these volatility indexes, and we have Bitcoin now moving off of the lows, which is good to see, right? This weekly demand zone on the BVOL. But this thing is still extremely low. It has a lot of room to run higher, meaning that we're going to see, like, this was just the start of the volatility. This was just the start of it. And yeah, this still has a lot of room to run higher. Same with the Ethereum volatility index. It's still low. It's at support. It has a lot of room to run higher. So with that being said, we are about to see some really volatile times. This was just the start of it. If I could compare this, what's happened this past week, to anything, there's two events I would compare it to at the current moment in time. And we'll look at the total market cap to show that on the weekly time frame. The first one would be what happened in October of 2023, which was the start of a macro bull altcoin season, October into March. As you guys remember, we cleaned house on the channel here at Crypto Empire during this time. I mean, we had multiple 10Xs, 20Xs, 50Xs, 100Xs in this stretch. Okay? Also, it kind of reminds me as well of what happened in February of 2024. Let's go to the daily. I believe it was February 8th. Yeah, February 8th. Same thing. It was just like the start of a breakout. It was the start of a move of up-only price action. This feels similar. All right, this feels similar. This is the total market cap. And over here, right, we were in this bull flag for months, from May, June, July, right? Around 2 months of a bull flag. We just had an aggressive breakout on volume, all right, for the total market cap. And this thing hasn't made a new all-time high yet. It's important to understand. Bitcoin's at a new all-time high, but the total crypto market cap isn't. So it's the same thing as Bitcoin. It's the same thing as the S&P 500 right now. It's the same thing as the NASDAQ, whatever, right? Right, go look at the S&P. Near the all-time highs, broke it. I'm expecting the total crypto market cap to pull a similar move. We're consolidating directly underneath the all-time high in the total market cap. Directly under the all-time high. I think it's safe to say that this is going to make a new all-time high, okay? And the breakout started literally a few days ago. So you missed the first 10% move on total if you didn't buy anything, whatever. By the way, I mean, I'll share this. Shout out to Scorch in the Discord, absolutely crushing it as well. You can see he's been sharing all of his trades too. He's absolutely been crushing it. But anyways, I wrote this message. This was on, let me make sure you guys can see that. It was on July 9th, on Wednesday. I said, you need to understand how much altcoins are in extreme discount levels. They can be bottom now. Maybe there's one last flush. But I said, if you want to get exposure, you cannot, I said, do not wait for a final potential liquidity flush out. You need to get exposure at the current prices, basically, is what I said on Wednesday, okay? So, if for whatever reason you decided to not get exposure on Wednesday at current prices, meanwhile, I mean, anyways, you get the point. It's okay. All that's happened was coins went up like 20 to 30%. If this is going to be the move to our macro targets here, on the total, we're looking at 4.4 trillion. There's going to be multiples. We're going to see 100%, 200%, some coins 1,000% moves from today. So there's still a lot of juice left here. There's a lot of opportunities, basically. So yeah, we need to basically just be ready to play this expansive move here on the total crypto market cap. You know, we're talking about an increase of trillions of dollars. We're talking about a move of $1.5 trillion coming in on the total too, right? To our macro target, excluding Bitcoin, the total to our macro target is $2.5 trillion. 2.5 trillion with a T. That's an increase of $1.2 trillion from the current market price. So what I'm saying right now is I'm expecting like $1.2 trillion to go into altcoins. You haven't missed anything per se, right? This is literally just the start of it. So anyways, that's that. Back to the total. It's about to break the all-time high. Again, when it comes to pullbacks and things like that, same thing as like ETH and USDT dominance, right? They all left this this daily time frame level behind. Even though this was actually used, I'd actually just take this partial on the daily at like 3.46 trillion. So this would be the optimal level on the total to long, 5% lower. But like I've been saying all stream, if we're in an all gas, no brakes phase, it's not going to give you that. So basically, you need to go to the low time frame. You need to take your range measurement. You need to apply the range measurement on the chart like this. And you need to be ready to play the breakout. So we can see we're now at the range high, right? Technically, we did close above the range high, but we closed equal highs. So it's really, you can't really call that a break because it didn't close above the level. You can see the close here, 3.65, close here, or the high 3.65. So yeah. But there was a wick up. So anyways, on this range, if we see it start to accept above the range high, again, you have to look for those aggressive entries and just get into the trend. Tight stops. Or you have those wide stops where you're okay with risking more at levels on the chart where price should simply not revisit if we're in an aggressive uptrend. Now, if we see this reject the range, it's quite simple, right? You can look for scalp shorts. It's counter trend. You have to know what you're doing. But you can look for the range low for longs, or you can look for the level we just drew up here at like 3.47 trillion. But yeah, guys, set up your fib, make a template. You wanna only have the 0, the 1, and the 0.5. And just save it as a template as the range measurement 50%, okay? Put those ranges on the chart, because let's pick a random coin, a random example. With dog with the hat. Little bit of a different scenario happening with WIF compared to the total market cap. So clean though. This is so clean. It just pulled right back into this daily time frame, hit an order block, and resulted in a move up. So whatever whatever pairs you're trading, your focus, in my opinion, should be look for where you want to long, either have the patience to wait for it or manage risk aggressively and look to hop into the trend wherever, depending on how you trade and your trading style. Okay. But yeah, WIF isn't really a great example compared to the total in that range I was going to show, because it's not really ranging like that. But this is at resistance. Has not closed above the previous swing high from back in June yet. But you can just see how it's setting up here on the daily. All right, what would you call this? I would call it an ascending triangle. And you simply look for this to break out. So that entry was perfect earlier in that the 12-hour order blocks, and it's already bounced now. On the lower time frames, you have broken this. This looks ready to pump, not gonna lie. You're right at the neckline. Flipping this SR. Here's support. Here's resistance. Flipping it back to support. So on this, something like WIF, you'd expect this trend line to hold, right? So you can be aggressive if you want, and like you need to have tight stops, right? Essentially saying if price is to break the trend line, you get out of the trade. All right, so a broken trend line would be around 96 cents or so, 96.3 cents. So it's like a 2-3% risk, and you would be targeting daily supply. I mean, it's resistance. You can take partial there, but the yearly open would be 86% higher. Just to where the price was back in January of this year, we're talking another 86% move. And as you can see, yearly open, daily supply zone. So yeah, it's pretty obvious how this chart's shaping up right now. This was just a random example I picked from the watch list. But the daily's pretty clean. The daily's pretty clean. Breakout, perfect retest. Maybe wants to consolidate more, but we should be looking for the next expansion phase up this week on crypto week. Yeah, but that was just a random example from the watch list. Let me see what's coming on here, or what's going on here in the live chat. I can see we're getting raided by bots. Let me clean this up. We're getting raided by the bots right now. We're going to have to clean this up hard, guys. This is crazy. This has never happened in a live chat. Or has it? In my live chat, I should say. Sorry to delay the stream to get rid of these bot comments. One moment. What a bunch of trolls. There we go. All right, shout out to Dan Griffiths. What's up, Dan? How are you? We got Eric Royston. We got Silva Dalla. What is up? We got Semi 187. And we got FBS. B Marquee. What is going on, sir? Eric Alexanderson as well as Shane. What is up? We got Guts Motors as well. Topi. What up, Topi? Good, great to see you, man. By the way, Topi, I know you've obviously seen it, but that magic trade we set up on the last stream, that one hit, right? Just shorting the daily 200 EMA. Right, if you guys remember when Topi asked about this last stream, he said he wanted to short it up here, and he was right. We set it up, and it resulted in a 21% move lower. Now, again, the idea is to buy the pullback into key liquidity. Something like Magic, this is an AI gaming coin. It's a good narrative. Anyways, the key liquidity is on the 2-day time frame. So this is like the optimal level to look to enter. And on something like Magic, it's not something I don't really trade. I would only take a trade like this on this coin. I wouldn't look for something more aggressive. Even though it's kind of setting up pretty nice. It's just a bull flag. But yeah, the optimal entry would be a pullback into like 15 cents on the 2-day. But anyway, somebody asked about Pengu, so let's go look at Pengu. So it's pretty interesting. It's clearing. Let's see on the 3-day. Now the daily shows it the best. But just one quick tip when it comes to identifying like high probability supply and demand levels. Wow, this thing is so bullish. It just flipped this. This is why you don't want to short supply in an uptrend. You get blown out. But this was the origin of the breakdown. So this gives it a high probability. This is a high probability zone, right? Because there was such an aggressive move from this level, right? So this was daily supply. Price stalled for a day and just took off. Right, this is the example of Tau September 2024, where you come into daily supply, you consolidate for like 23 hours. If we take the measurement from the high to the low of the consolidation, it spent 13 hours going down basically. Now it just broke out higher. Anyways, Pengu. It's the best performing coin right now. And the target is the yearly open up here currently. Before a move to 4.0. What was the question about Pengu? Just chart it? Yeah, no question here. I mean, look, over the past 3 hours or so, this thing has pumped. This was a 23% move in 2 hours. Okay, so something like this. It's giving you no opportunity for a entry, right? If you're waiting for some type of pullback, it's simply just consolidating. So we have another consolidation now. And granted, right, we don't want to see this thing just fail to break out. Yeah, no opportunity to enter unless you take that lower time frame consolidation earlier. I mean, look, from here, I see this thing moving up towards 3.3 3.5 cents, that daily supply zone. And, you know, eventually likely come and revisit these highs up here, 5 cents. So anyways, Pengu right now, I'd say, like, you're either going to have to look to long the consolidation, which is dangerous. You do that on your own, or you wait for a pullback to these levels at like 2.5 cents. But watch it. Set up a range if you can. Right now you can't necessarily do that too well, because it just started its consolidation. But you either long the consolidation or you wait for the pullback to like 2.5 on Pengu, because I see this thing just ripping up. And if you really want to wait and you really don't want to take risk and you're scared that if you long you're going to get stopped or whatever, it's going to come down, you know, you can wait for this consolidation at 1.5 cents, where the origin of this breakout move. But the thing is, it probably won't come back down to 1.5 cents until after it hits its targets, and then it's like it will hit it then. So yeah, that's Pengu. Very aggressive, top performing coin in the market right now. And how long ago is this? Pengu is at 1.1 cents in this video I made in the middle of June. So yeah, very aggressive mover. And yeah, all gas, no brakes. Literally, you just look for the consolidation. You have one right now in the 15-minute, but you just had a 26% move in 2 hours. So maybe look somewhere else if you're itching to get into a trade. Anyways, we got Retribution Tails. He's asking about the useless coin. And yes, this thing is a meme coin, but let's look at the volume on it. 24-hour trading volume is $44 million. That's high enough volume. It's very good volume. So let's pull up the Bybit. Looks like it just got listed on Bybit. Maybe we go to MEXC. By the way, guys, MEXC. I wouldn't have much money on MEXC if you guys have money on here. Very shady exchange. But anyways, this is the useless coin here. And I believe this is a bonk guy call. And this thing hasn't broken out because it's been running aggressively. And now with the rest of the market breaking out, it kind of needs to take a back seat. So it's just in a consolidation range. So at this point in time, I would just look to play this range. Okay, the market structure is clearly different now. This could be distribution, right? After this thing just ran up 60x. This thing went up 60x in just over 2 months' time. So this could be distribution from the people that are realizing profits from back here that are up 60x profits. It's probably what we're seeing. We could see, and this will happen a lot, one last parabolic move and then the real kind of crash, okay? So I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm just kind of forecasting in terms of that one last parabolic move. But I would look to play this range, okay? And it's at the range highs right now. If you're looking for the best entry on it, I would be looking around the MO, the monthly open, which is coming in around 20 cents. Okay, I would be looking for a range low. A range low. We can label this range low, right? And I'd be looking in here at around 20 cents to like 17 cents. Shout out to Manny Adachi. What's up, Manny? And Guts Motors. Joey Joe. What's up, Joey Joe? Did I already say that? But he says DMT is pumping. That's Dream Machine token. Nice. I'm happy to see the lads holding DMT get some positive price action, because it certainly needs it. Now you can see on the weekly time frame, a lot of low caps are going to look like this. What's the market cap of this coin, DMT? This is a 9 mil, okay? So all your micro caps, like sub 10 million market cap coins that have been around for a while, they probably look similar to this right now, right? They look similar. And if you notice, the volume's insane. Okay. Also, if you notice, it's just a little blip on the chart. It's a 63% move. Yes, that's a massive move. But it hasn't even broken resistance yet, and you're looking at hundreds of percent to, you know, higher time frame resistance, at least 200% to the next target, or to these wicks, this opposite pole. So again, like I was saying before, like on the total 2 at the start of the stream, everyone's like, oh my god, we're expecting another $1.2 trillion to come into this altcoin market. Another 1.2 trill to come in. Trillion. There's going to be a lot of great opportunities to make money here from now until the time that this goes and hits 2.5 trillion. Whenever that is. Probably sometime later this quarter, if this is really the aggressive bullish phase that we've been looking for. So interesting. Farcoin has been a proxy of risk on, but Farcoin hasn't really moved too much. So this is just an example of capital rotation, right? Capital that was being used to pump Farcoin is now being used to pump other assets. This wasn't true organic demand on Farcoin. As much as you wanted to believe it was just people from all around the world buying Farcoin because they thought it was funny, that wasn't actually the case. But anyways, what do we got? We got a bull flag. We got a bull flag on the daily time frame at that. So we'll see here. Remember, we got crypto week tomorrow. If they give us an early week dip, it's a very, very, I think you want to get aggressive. If they give you an early week dip, what do I mean by get aggressive? You know what I mean. You know, look to basically buy that dip like a Chad would do, right? So here on this coin, on Farcoin, daily time frame. So it looks like it just nabbed this. It just nabbed this daily time frame hidden order block. Same thing we looked at on WIF, right? This is the same thing, guys. Same exact setup. Just a little order block left behind on the daily. It went and nabbed it and reversed hard. Right, here's WIF, what we just looked at earlier in the stream. Same thing, right? Daily time frame, hit an order block, price nabs, just nabs it. Perfect nab. Resulting in a 9% move. But anyways, let me go back to Fartcoin. So it just nabbed that. Same thing, right? Bull flag, higher time frame. We know we're looking for the macro breakout here. Okay, so the idea is to capture this trade. The breakout of the bull flag into a move likely to the all-time high or into, new all-time highs if you can break it. So this is the trade idea on the macro. We want to catch this move. How can we catch that move? That's what we should be asking ourselves. Well, that daily level was nabbed perfectly. And here we are now, just with this ranging kind of price action. It's choppiness. It's chop and slop. A little chop and slop action. Just to show you how well these work on all time frames. This one was nabbed as well on the 1 hour at $1.26. But yeah, I mean, I think just using a simple trend line like this, the lows, and just being strict and saying, if price breaks the trend line, I'm out. I'm out. I don't want to be in the trade anymore. I'm looking for the aggressive breakout here. All right. So you can either wait for a pullback back to this trend line. Maybe it just goes sideways. It hits and then it takes off. Okay. But all you should know is whether you enter a current price or you wait for it to hit this trend line for an entry. All you should think is if it breaks, you're out. You lose a super small amount. And if you're right, if you're right, you're looking at 100% plus move on the table. So this is what I'm looking at in terms of the entire market and all of these coins. Yeah. So how will we set that up? Let's say, right? If it breaks the trend line, we're out. Cool. Yeah, we look to take that up to the all-time high, basically. It's pretty simple. Now, obviously, this doesn't give any margin for a move lower, right? If price wants to do some choppiness in this range, it's going to stop you out. You have to be okay with that. Okay, you have to be okay with that. But if you're going to take some suboptimal entry, and this is a suboptimal entry if you're going to long Fartcoin here, no doubt about it, right? It's not taking a daily key hidden liquidity level or anything. You're just FOMOing in here. It's suboptimal, 100%. You need to have a strict, tight invalidation. Okay? Yeah. Understand that. Or you can wait for the optimal level, which in my opinion is going to be around the monthly open at $1.13. You can wait for that, potentially never get filled. Or you can take a more FOMO entry and just be very, very strict with your risk and just get out quickly if it goes against you. But yeah, let's see what else is going on here. So something like Brett is bullish, but it has not cleared the previous swing high. Same as Doge. We haven't looked at Doge yet. But, it didn't close above the previous swing high, but it's still bullish. We'll look at Doge next after Brett. Anyways, this is bullish market structure, guys. So the thing is now, this is another example. We looked at what, Pangu, we looked at Fartcoin, now we're looking at Brett. All three of these meme coins, they did the same exact thing. Okay, I'll call this a 1 day partial because of this wick partially going into it over here. But they all did the same thing. They all had these daily levels in this fair value gap that was just created from the move on Thursday, July 10th, right? Big gap up day, big fair value gap left behind. They all left behind these order blocks. And they all just took them. They all took them. Right, here's Brett coming in, taking it. Now back up to the highs at resistance. So was that the fuel needed for the next rally higher? There's a very good chance it was, actually. There's a very good chance this 1 day partial was the fuel for the next push. Also, here's your local range. Break that, okay? Interesting. So depending on how this 288 closes, this is a 288 minute chart. I mean, we have to look at this time frame more often. The 288, it's a great time frame. But if this was to close like this, it would leave behind this new level, and we could look for that. Just a quick move into here, entry for the breakout. And let's go look at this. We already looked at WIF. Let's go back to WIF now on the 288. That's not as good. Different chart. And the other one was Fartcoin. No, so it's actually only Brett that has this. So keep an eye on it on the 288, depending on how this candle closes. This could just result in a fresh breaker, right? That we can use to look for a long continuation entry. Anyways, what's up? Let's see what's happening with the live chat. Dan says USDT is going to 3.3%. That's the idea. That's the macro. That's like the best we can hope for. So the idea is, yes, to see it down here at 3.3%. But these are levels where we may see some pretty harsh volatile pullbacks. 4.1, 3.8. Those can be used as target levels on USDT dominance as well to take profits on positions that you were up big in profits on. Big shout out to Bergen County Real Estate. What is up? Expendable Youth, Adrian Kent. Vincent P, he says H-bar's doing well. It's about time. Let's check it. I haven't looked at it. Wow. Okay, H-bar pumping. XRP as well. XRP pumping too. We have a super chat right now. We got a super chat from Dennis Lovelace. Dennis Lovelace says, bro, can you look at Pepe? Yeah, we can look at Pepe, man. Thank you for that $4.99 super chat, bro. That is much appreciated. Thank you. I'm going right to the 288. What can we find? eyes are right here. All right, so still fresh. This is still a fresh level on the 288. Let's label that. If you guys didn't know, 288 minutes is 1/5 of one day. It's a fifth of 24 hours. So there's 5 288-minute candles in one day. All right, so anyways, Pepe. Yeah, so optimally, right? If it does end up like breaking, interesting. It's a perfect 50% fib. So that would be a great level to enter, in my opinion. 8% lower than the current market price. Fresh level in a fair value gap. You have fib confluence. This looks like a great price to look to enter. The issue is, what if this consolidation range does not give you the opportunity to enter there? Okay, let's say this is our range low. Let's say that this is our range high, and this is our current consolidation range. All right, so we're near the bottom of the range down here. So look out for this, because it would be perfect if something like this happened on Pepe. Triple drive, 3 tap, right into a key level pump. All right, so what we could do is we can put a line here just above it, and we can add an alert, and we can put a message saying Pepe optimal long level, right? This way we get a phone notification or an email, depending on how you have your trading view alerts set up, telling you to pay attention. Right, so that's optimal. Suboptimal FOMO entry looks like this. This is your suboptimal FOMO entry. Simple, right? Price swept the low, or swept the high, swept the low as the range continuation trade, right? This will play out a lot. Essentially, sweep the high, sweep the low in an uptrend, and then you get the real breakout. So the aggressive FOMO play would be to use this trend line, much like the other ones we've set up today. And we say if price is to break the trend line, we want out. We want out of the trade, and we'll probably wait for our key level down here. I'm in no way recommending you guys to take FOMO entries on altcoin trades. I'm simply just showing you what they would look like, and how, if you do take FOMO entries, how important it is to manage the risk on them, or you will blow your account. You'll have a liquidation email or 5 of them, because they send multiple, if you guys have ever experienced that. But anyways, I digress. The invalidation would be a move below the trend line, right? So you want out basically if price breaks the trend line. So it'd be something like this. And again, the targets are significantly higher. Okay, I'd probably look to target these levels next. All right, 30% or so. So anyways, not to go on too long here, but Pepe optimal entry is down here, 0.0000114135. That's that. Let's see what's up here. We have another super chat right now from Mahad Musarat. Thank you, my man, for the $4.99 super chat. He says, thoughts on Cubic. Recent changes proposed to burn emissions and Monero takeover. CFB keeps telling people that we can hit 1 penny per cubic unit. Love it, but come on. I think that 1 penny target would be if Cubic develops true AGI and becomes like a main AI solution. This chart's too messy, man. Let me go to my other cubic chart on MEXC. Anyways, so cubic. Thoughts on it? I think that you shouldn't drink the Kool-Aid with any altcoin. Caspa has a very polarizing community. Cubic has a very polarizing community. What's another coin with a polarizing community? I don't know. Pick any of them. Brett, right? Very polarizing community. These people buy in and they drink the Kool-Aid. Okay, what does drinking the Kool-Aid mean? It means you listen to CFB and you take him literally when he says it's going to a penny. Right? It means you listen to Crash that bread is going to go to a 30 billion or 50 billion market cap. What's the other example? Caspa, right? Caspa is going to $100 per coin. Whatever. This is what the holders, the diehard believers in the community think. So I think that you can still hold the asset, you can still be bullish on it, but just don't drink the Kool-Aid, right? But yeah, that's my thoughts on the question around cubic. Now, this is still looking good for a breakout higher. The 4-day demand zone has been holding like a champ, and it continues to hold. All right. So at this moment in time, I think cubic has like the worst thing I think on cubic's future is a move of like 100% to the yearly open. I think this is the worst thing. Optimally, we go higher, right? Hopefully we test all-time highs, breakout, go into price discovery. But overall, cubic is still a high risk reward trade from down here at these price levels. It's still not too late to buy this, not financial advice, but I think it's going to break out. And I think the minimum thing that will happen is a 100% move. In terms of the holders and 1 penny and come from beyond and all of that, just don't drink the Kool-Aid, right? The market, it's a trader's market. If you hodl something believing the founder, you get waxed. You get sent to the gulag. So don't do that. Let's see. We got people asking about some base coins. Joey Joe says cubic to $3. My man had the full picture of the Kool-Aid. He's obviously trolling. Someone said Miggles is about to break out. Let's check out Mr. Miggles. KeyCat 2 up 6%. So it's interesting, right? If these coins, like these base coins, if they were on Solana, they would have a $1 million market cap. Like they all held like 20 million, whatever. It just goes to show you that base people hate, like the Solana people hate on base, but I don't know. The coins don't go to zero at the same rate they do on Solana. They actually hold. So yeah, Mr. Miggles. Okay, this is just in an accumulation range. There's a lot of plays on base. There's meme plays. There's utility plays. This is a meme play. Clear. This is still in the accumulation range. So yeah, it's low, right? I think you'll have the opportunity to sell high, right? This is low. This is low down here. This is high. So yeah, that's that. Somebody asked about TREB as well. Current price is 0.32. And as you can see, a lot of jeets on this thing, man. Who's jeeting so hard? But dip was bought today aggressively, so with this move off of support, I mean, I'm looking for a move back up here, and ideally we crack 5 mil market cap and then continue to trend from there. But yeah, this is low in my opinion. This will be high up here, right? So, and this is actually still extremely low because the market cap is extremely low. But you get what I'm trying to say. I think these things are still in like their bottom accumulation ranges. Most base plays are similar. By the way, coins like Appster, with the success of Pengu, right? Remember, Pengu is Pudgy Penguins, Abstract. It's all the same brand. It's all the same company. So with Pengu as the best performing token currently, or the biggest, most popular, best performing token, it's all indirect marketing for the Abstract blockchain. So coins like Appster, you can see, are not even breaking the all-time high yet. I think there's going to be at least one coin, but probably a few coins on Abstract that run to 100 million. Appster is probably the most likely one to do that. Just something I'll throw out there in this live stream. But this thing looks really good. And yeah, a lot of great indirect marketing from the success of Pengu. Yeah, I mean, all these shit coins are waking back up. It's very positive signs. For anyone joining late, at the start of the live stream, I'm essentially comparing this current breakout of the bull flag on the total market cap to what occurred in October 2023 and February 2024. And what happened in October of 2023, we had the first violent leg up. And then February 2024, we had another aggressive breakout. And both of these times just resulted in massive flows of capital coming into crypto and altcoins actually pumping. So I'm comparing this current breakout to those times, which means we've just begun, right? We've just begun towards our macro target here of around $4.4 trillion. So I think we're about to see some even more violent pumps. And here we talked about this range at the beginning of our live stream, guys, right? We put this range on. If anyone just joined in late, after we're done, watch the replay and you can see us put the range on. Range low, range high. We're breaking out above the range highs. So we have right now it appears we're just having the aggressive pump, consolidate, pump scenario where it doesn't give you the opportunity to buy a dip. The opportunity to buy the dip is going to be the range low. I mean, let's look at these coins. All right, we set up this trade on Tau. Starting to move. Again, stop just on the trend line break. These are all aggressive entries I gave you today. Okay, we went over the optimal levels to buy on Tau. That's 350, 355. But if we're going to FOMO entry, it's going to look like this. Using this trend line. Saying if price breaks the trend line, we're out. We get out. But, I mean, Tau likes to pump, consolidate, pump. This could very well be it. Anyways, what's USDT dominance doing in the range? It's probably breaking down. It is breaking down. All right, we're breaking down, which means coins are going to pump. So this is what an aggressive trend looks like. Now, obviously, we have a weekly candle close today. We have a daily candle close today. It's the start of the day on Sunday. There's still all day long right now for these candles to react and potentially maybe reverse. Maybe. But as of right now, I would treat this as a legitimate range breakdown, which is bullish for the market. I would treat the total breakout as legitimate. I would treat Bitcoin, which hasn't broken the range high yet. Right, here's our lower time frame range for anyone joining in late. Bitcoin, aggressive uptrend. All we've seen is simple moves of a pump, consolidation, pump, consolidation, pump, consolidation, pump, consolidation now. We hit the negative 0.27 fib extension. Price stalled. We consolidate for 1 day. Is that all it lasts for? Very well could be, yes. We're in a very aggressive uptrend right now. So let's see if Bitcoin, let's watch. because it might swing failure pattern. It could SFP, move up, close back in the range. That's a bearish SFP. If that happens, and if USDT dominance also comes back into the range, well, then there's reasons to say, all right, maybe we get a little pullback at the start of crypto week, and then we go up from there. But overall, it's looking bullish. And yeah, something like TRB is the same. It would be the same, right? If you're going to take an aggressive entry, you cut it quick, right? You cut it if the trend line is going to break. So anyways, I was looking at this before the stream. And I do believe, yeah. Yes, sir. Anyways, what's going on here in our live chat? I don't even remember where we left off here in the chat, guys. And I just looked at the time. We've been live for 1 hour and 16 minutes. That's the first time I checked the time today. And I can't believe we've been going for 1 hour and 16 minutes already. It actually feels like 10 minutes. We have... I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but it appears it's a Spanish name. La Clé de Success. He says, salute, Connor. I've been following you since 2021. Thank you, man. Can you guys want to see what comments I'm at, where I'm at in the live chat? I'll show you. I'm up here right now. So he says, Monday, Trump will announce something about Ukraine, Russia, and we have to be aware. And also, it's crypto week. So is Trump going to announce something about Ukraine and Russia tomorrow? Maybe. But if he does and the market sells off, every time he does that and it sells off, it's just a buy the dip opportunity. Look at everything that happened in June. So like I said multiple times in the stream, good point. But if we do get the early week sell off, it's an aggressive dip to buy. Also, with that being said, Pump Fund did a token sale. They raised 500 million in 12 minutes, sold out. The coin's going to officially launch on Monday. You can trade it pre-market on like Bybit right now. And one other piece of news is I talked about it in this gaming video about the Sharplink Gaming starting to buy up. This was back in May and June. Well, just yesterday or 2 days ago, they've been buying ETH directly from the Ethereum Foundation as well as on the market. And they bought like $50 million of ETH within the past few days. So, yeah, I mean, everything I said in this video is kind of happening. And, right, Pengu is the best performing coin out of these. If you look at the prices of these other coins, right, Axie was at 260. If you look at it now, it's still actually lower than the current price. Or sorry, it's lower than where it was in that video. And right, speaking about key levels and things like that, everyone right now wants this 12-hour at 225. Everyone wants the 12-hour at 225 for the long. Of course we do, right? That's the most optimal, best looking level on the chart. Untouched behind 1, 2, 3 fair value gaps. Of course we want that level. But we would need to see the market drop 11%, which is very possible, an 11% drop to get it. All these charts look the exact same. You have the bull flag. And you have this uptrend line right now. So ETH just broke 3K, got the notification on the phone. But anyways, what we have is this kind of vertical action. So with all of these now approaching their highs from the other day, off the aggressive pump at the end of the week on Friday, there's only one of two things that can happen. All right. It either breaks out or it doesn't. And that's either going to be sideways or down. So it's worth it if you want to be a little aggressive and just have such a tight invalidation point. And right, it's 2% risk. What does that mean? 2% risk. It means if you put on a position size of $10,000, you'll lose $200. If you put on a position size of $100,000 and you lose $2,000. But with a 26% gain, 10K position size, you make 2,600. 100K position size, you make 26,000. Right? Losing a much smaller amount. So, anyways, these are high risk, aggressive entries. Optimally, we have lower levels, but the way things look currently, it's looking pretty bullish. Tau as well coming into resistance. We'll see how we go. H bar exploding right now. So yeah, this is the aggressive price action I've been talking about. What's happening with H bar is all the other coins we've looked at, they're basically doing this. And the scenarios that I've mapped out this stream, let's just go over it, right? Basically, we've just taken the trend line here because every chart we've looked at has this kind of vertical accumulation action happening on like the 1 hour, 15-minute time frame. And every setup I've given you today is this. We don't want to see it break the trend line. We want to long it with the breakout, right? That's the whole idea of today's live stream. H bar is an example of what it looks like if it's successful, right? Consolidation, breakout. All the trades we've set up, the coins are like here. And I've told you, if you want to take the FOMO aggressive entry, you put your stop under the trend line because you want this to happen. This is what you're trading. So you say if this doesn't happen, you're out quickly. That's it. All right? Simple stuff, lads. Simple stuff. Stellar also going nuclear right now. When XRP pumps, you're always going to see XLM pump and you're always going to see H bar pump. Most lads don't understand. But it's like a repeat every single time. Anyways. We got a super chat from Dice550. My man Dice5, what's up? He says, look at SBET. So I do know that this is not affiliated with the actual SharpLink gaming company that's buying Ethereum. Look, this is some shit coin. I'm looking at it for a guy Dice550 because he gave a super chat. Normally I wouldn't probably look at something like this, but yeah, what can we say about this coin? We'll keep it simple, man. We'll keep it simple. All right. If it pulls back to this level, 5 million market cap, then yeah, you can look to buy. It's a 3-day level. 3-day level, 4.7 million. Other than that, it's a gamble, and you should treat it as a gamble, right? So if you buy it, you should already write the money off like it's gone. You should have zero attachment to it if you decide to buy this coin at this price. At resistance, looking to break out into an all-time high. It might break out because SBET is big right now. It's in everybody's mind. The mind share is big. But yeah, it's a gamble. Optimally, you would wait for like sub 5 mil market cap, something like that, if you want to buy it, of course. And yeah, new all-time highs. Happy all-time high, lads. Here we go. We're breaking the range. We have to see if we're going to SFP. We don't want to SFP. PG says, Connor, do you think there will be some sort of crash in August or September if we get a July pump and get another pump in October? So you're saying pump in July, crash in August or September, and then another pump in October? I think not. I think that we're going to crash this year, right? We're going to pump up. Hopefully we hit our macro targets, right? I'm not necessarily just looking at Bitcoin's levels. I'm looking more so at, by the way, dominance. We haven't even looked at Bitcoin dominance today, but it's looking pretty good, guys. It's looking pretty good as a top. We already had a break of the weekly range, right? We broke the structure, broke down. And ideally, we take out this weekly low. Right, we have this candle body key swing, but we have the weekly low down here at 61.8. So if we take that out, yeah, we're topped and we're coming, back towards 50%. All right. So anyways, back to PG's question. I think that pump crash later this year. I don't think we'll see any bullish action probably until like January next year. It's going to be pretty brutal. So we basically need to get this part right. Lock in profits, and then it's going to be pretty slow again for a few months at the end of the year, I think. But right now, let's not think about that. Let's think about being aggressive and catching these pumps. Juan says, thoughts on KOL scan. I never used it. Not really sure if it's a coin or what. CRV on the weekly pumping. So the analysis would be that you just missed the current consolidation. I wouldn't try and short it. But yeah, this was a bull flag. It broke out of the bull flag. Right? Remember, every trade I've given you was doing this. And this is what we're looking for, right? So at this point in time, CRV, look on the daily time frame, you have this. What time frame is that? Let me just see 1 second. 3-day. So on the 3-day, you have your optimal level to long. Right? This would be optimal if the market gives a big pullback, but I've made it pretty clear how aggressive the trend is right now. So it's like everything just consolidates and then breaks out. But if you see this in the 3-day level at 57 cents, that's your optimal entry. Otherwise, you just miss the consolidation, so it's a no trade. You kind of have to let this one go for now. But yeah, mark that 3-day. So yes, here's Tau, right? Just looking at what we mapped out earlier. Aggressive entry, stop below the trend line, simple stuff. With aggressive entry, stop below the trend line, is simple stuff. It's not rocket science. Yeah, anyways, Shout out to Anthony Tremaine. What's going on, man? Haven't seen that name in a while. Bitcoin still not broken the 8-year trend line. It's been trying all week. When it breaks and holds above it, rocket ships. Well, we got a super chat. We got a super chat from Nat Pulse Playa. He says, look at Cookie Dow. Cookie. Call me the cookie monster out here, dog. Come on. Anyways. So they all nabbed. They all nabbed these levels, right? We looked at WIF, we looked at Farcoin. They all did the same thing. This one's not perfect, but I mean, it's still the same concept. Perfect nab. Right in there. Honestly, you might get away with, like, this is like everyone's right. Everyone's a genius season, just aggressive pumping, right? So you can get away with stupid shit at these times. All right. We draw a simple trend line on the 1 hour. Price broke it. All right. It also grabbed this down here. A move to supply is 32%. Obviously, if you do see a move like to the highs here, you need to quickly move the stop to break even. You can take some partial profits, but when you're being aggressive and a degenerate with leverage, you need to make sure your risk is in check, which is why you have these tight stops taking these trades. But yeah, Cookie took this level. It's not perfect per se, but it's still, as you can see, worked. We seen a good reaction. Lower time frame trend line break. So there's a chance we just see some pumps out of this. So we have some funny stuff going on here in the comment section of our live chat. Some friendly banter. Anyways, guys, we've been live for an hour and a half. A little Sunday live stream, lads. Look, time flies when you're having fun. And we had some fun today, right? Hope you guys had fun too. Yeah, we'll see how we go here to start the week. It's crypto week, guys. So Bitcoin new all-time high, crypto week. What could go wrong? Hopefully we just keep blasting off into outer space. See you on the moon, lads. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see how we go. We'll see how things progress here, and it's time to get aggressive, folks. Time to be an aggressive bull. El Matador, Ilia Taporia. On that note, I'm out. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. See you all very soon. Connor from Crypto Empire, signing out.